Hi everyone, and welcome to another very special Impact interview with Sportskeeda Wrestling. Now, there's been a lot of new faces appearing in Impact recently, but despite debuting in April, my guest today is one that has become a very familiar face for fans. It's Nevaeh. How's it going today, Nevaeh?
Good, how are you doing?
I am doing really well, thank you. So we mentioned that, 4 months I believe it's coming up for since you debuted. I believe it was the second night of Rebellion. The first question I need to ask, man, the Knockouts division is incredibly stacked in Impact. How are you fitting in so far?
I like to think that I hold my own there and doing pretty well. Doing great there with all the knockouts and everything going on. It's an honor to be there.
Definitely, and one of the women that you know very well, someone you've aligned yourself with, is Havok. What are your thoughts on Havok, and why do you guys work so well together as a team?
I could gush over Havok for hours, but mostly Havok and I have known each other for a very long time, most of our wrestling careers. And we've been good friends outside of all of that. So something about our chemistry and the way we can just look at each other and know exactly what needs to be done and where we need to go next. It's like an unspoken bond that we have. Yeah,
definitely, and that's something that I think is slightly mirrored by a tag team that you guys are going to be taking on this week. So it's yourself and Havok against Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan in a no disqualification match. Just by saying that sentence, I don't really personally think you should have to sell that match to anyone, but let's just make sure. Why is that match unmissable? Why should people tune in to see that match?
Well, anyone who's watched Impact knows that Tasha and Kiera like to run their mouth, and they've poked the bear enough times that now they're trying to step on our turf. We put up with it, we played by the rules, now we get to break the rules too.
Man, yeah, and that is one match that I cannot wait for because, if you look at the landscape of the Knockouts division, then it's a very stacked division, and you two guys are two tag teams that I'm going to sneak in a little thing here that's came up a few times, that if there was ever a rematch of this match in the future, it would be pretty nice if you four were fighting for some Knockouts tag team championships. What do you think about the possibility of those belts being brought back to Impact?
I can't disagree with you. While I love fighting, I definitely love fighting for tag titles a lot more too. So I have all of my fingers, all of my toes, all of Havok's fingers and toes crossed to hope that Impact does get to reintroduce the Knockout tag titles again.
Most definitely, and I can't think of a more fitting match if that was to be it than, you four going at it, because two of the most established tag teams already. However, I know that I've been speaking a lot about how much you and Havok are, two of the most perfect fits for being in a tag team. I want to go completely away from that and say, if anything were to ever happen and, yourself and Havok had some kind of disagreement, you were no longer aligned and no longer a tag team, is there anyone else in Impact that you would like to form a team with?
I don't know right now. Watching right now, there's so much talent. I'm definitely familiar with Madison Rayne. She's someone that, I've been in a tag team with before, and we did very well for ourselves there too. So I would have to say I would like to bring her back into the ring full time if something crazy were to ever happen between Havok and I.
That's not a bad backup to have at all. Madison Rayne wouldn't be a bad backup at all. I recently actually spoke to another person that you're very familiar with from, I believe, your first match in Impact, who is Kimberly. She spoke really highly of a lot of the Knockouts backstage, and she actually mentioned Madison Rayne as well as being someone she would love to work with. Well, Madison Rayne, obviously, we've not seen much of her in the ring over the past couple of years, but she came back at Slammiversary, and man, she didn't look like she'd missed a step, did she? She still looked brilliant.
I think that's why she is definitely the queen bee.
Most definitely. So obviously we kind of mentioned a lot of knockouts there. Madison Rayne obviously being at the kind of veteran stage of her career, and then there's people like yourselves and Kimberly who obviously are very experienced wrestlers but have only been in Impact for maybe 3 months, 4 months each. or respectively, because one of you's been there for 3, one for 4. But yeah, the main thing that I'm kind of getting to here is I feel like over the past maybe 3 years, and I know you've not been there for 3 years, but over the past 3 years, Impact, it seems like it's just gone through a wild transformation. And it seems like Slammiversary, everyone took notice. It's like, oh yeah, it's an overnight success, but really it's taken a lot to get to that point. Have you felt any kind of change while you've been there personally? Or is it now just a case of, right, the eyes of the world are on us, we need to take our chance?
I think it's one of those, anyone who is there wants to see the company grow and just be on top and prove that Impact does have one of the hardest working rosters around, in and outside of the ring. I mean, paying attention to social media alone, you can see that most of the Impact roster is either in-ring training or in the gym. There's a constant battle, constant improvement, so you never know who's going to pop up, and you never know who you're going to have to battle. So it's legit one of those always be ready.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the things. I thought you were going to mention something else that I had down here that I definitely want to ask you about. Aside from being either in the ring or in the gym, one of my very favourite things about Impact Wrestling, and this is probably something that bypasses a lot of people, and it might be weird that it's one of my favourite things, but I'm going to go with it. Every single Tuesday night, when Impact is airing or premiering, on both Twitch and on Access TV, one of my favourite things is seeing yourself and a lot of other Impact stars live tweeting the show and just tweeting along with fans and, enjoying the show, essentially. I think it speaks volumes for just how excited everyone is to be part of something special there and how much you all want it to succeed. Why do you live tweet the shows, and what do you personally feel like it adds when you guys are all watching along and just enjoying the show?
I mean, for me, I love watching Impact, and I've watched it for years and years. And I think there's nothing better than self-promotion. If you have employees who love the company that they're there for and they have the enthusiasm for it, it definitely speaks for itself that we are all tuning in to see what's happening, what's next. What's Impact going to do to shock the wrestling community next. So for us, and especially with Wrestle House airing and being new, it's so exciting. Because of course when you're, there and you're wrestling and you're busy, you don't get to know everything that's going on or see everything. And so for us, it's, hey, let's watch the show and see this match and that match. And I want to see my competition. I want to see who's improving. I want to see what's going on. And I think that's kind of the mindset of everyone. We want to be the best and we're proud of the product. So we're definitely keeping an eye on it. It
definitely speaks volumes as to, that's one way to endorse a product. If you've lived through it and then you watch it again, then it must be good, because if you guys are all sitting back and watching it while you're off work, then man, that's a ringing endorsement. But that's one of my favourite little things that I really like. However, we need to go back to what is actually happening in Impact, and we need to chat a little bit about Slammiversary. So a lot of new faces debuted at Slammiversary, Eric Young, the Good Brothers, EC3, Heath, and then even Brian Myers coming in just after that. That's a lot of names who, they'll definitely bring eyes to Impact Wrestling. What were your thoughts when you found out those guys were all coming into Impact?
It was pure excitement, and I mean, myself personally, I don't know all the details of what's going on with other people and who's coming in, so Slammiversary was just as exciting as a wrestler as it was a fan. And after being there, not being such a big debut and such a big pay-per-view for me, it was kind of like, no wonder Impact is trending worldwide right now. There's no possible way we could have been.
I love that, and also the fact that you say it was as exciting for the wrestlers as it was for the fans, because man, the fans were very excited watching that, so it's really nice to hear that was echoed backstage. So obviously, all the guys that I mentioned there are guys, to put it simply. There's a few new faces in Impact, along with, I'd still count, while you've established yourself in Impact, you're still relatively new to the product, having only been there 4 months. It's the same for Kimber Lee, the same for Deonna Purrazzo. However, is there anyone that you'd like to see added to that Knockouts division? I know it's very stacked, but is there anyone you'd like to see come in?
Not off the top of my head right now, no. I'm kind of one of those wrestlers that I don't watch to go, oh, who's good right now. I watch to go, who am I wrestling next? Who do I have to prepare for?
Yeah, and there's definitely enough talent there to actually work through without adding anyone else onto it as well. There's enough matches there that you can have without having to add more on. So, something that came out last week was that Deonna Purrazzo and Jordan Grace are going to headline Impact Emergence, it looks like. That match got announced, and the 2-week special got announced. One of my favourite things, apart from the live tweeting, is the fact that, Impact Wrestling, I believe, maybe more than anyone, value their talent really well, and you guys can be anywhere on a card. Whether that be Eddie Edwards opening a show with the World Championship on the line, or anyone across the board being able to main event. How does it feel being part of a company where it's possible to essentially be anywhere on the card?
To know how hard that myself and other women have worked over our careers, and really prior to our careers, women who also worked hard, it's almost undescribable to know that you're really not limited. You have zero limitations, and you can go after anything. You can pursue anything. Impact Wrestling has proven time and time and time again, if you're a great wrestler, you're going to be on top. Nothing else matters. Your wrestling and your wrestling ability is going to put you on top. Or you're a female, great. You're one of the best females we've ever seen. You're going to main event tonight. That's all that it takes. It does not matter to them, gender or anything else. I think they've proven it in the past time and time again. They've always put so much into their knockouts. It has never been the females are secondary or on the side. The females have always kind of headlined right alongside, the male components as well.
Yeah, most definitely. I've got 2 final questions. One of them isn't about Nevaeh and the other one is. So we'll start with the one that's not about Nevaeh. That Knockouts division, we've mentioned it is, the amount of talent there is absolutely ridiculous. It's probably the most stacked women's division in the world. Who, if someone had just started watching Impact Wrestling, say at Slammiversary, who is the one woman, aside from yourself, that they should be watching and should be paying attention to for the future?
Well, I'm definitely going to have to say Havok is the, one you're going to have to pay attention to, but I also think that Kylie Ray is someone you don't want to take your eye off of.
Most definitely. Couldn't agree more with that one. And then let's come back for the final question. I need to ask about yourself, of course. Simple one here. What does Nevaeh want to accomplish in Impact Wrestling?
I want to make my name a household name. I want wrestling fans to know who Nevaeh is, and I want wrestling fans to know Nevaeh as being a pure talent and someone who genuinely just loves wrestling. I just want them to see when I'm in the ring, I want them to see how hard I'm working and how much I enjoy what I do.
Yeah, and that's something I think anyone that has been watching for the past few months will see, but that is also a perfect way to leave it for tomorrow night, for that that no disqualification tag team match. That's definitely a way for people to see exactly what they should be watching. But it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to see what you do in Impact going forward.
Yes, thank you very much.